It's the Next to the Last podcast. Jennifer, are you ready? It's the Next to the Last podcast of 2016, coming directly into the ear holes of you, the listener of Rage Select, here on Rage Select, of the Rage Select, by the Rage Select, and for the Rage Select, on Rage Select. And I am Jeff.
I'm Mayhem's Muse, and I just took a nap during that entirely too long introduction of Rage Select business. That's what old people do, right?
Yes.
You turn 41 and then you just start taking naps all the time.
I don't know.
I'm into that life now.
I mean, next year I'll find out, I guess. I mean, I'm close. I'm closing in on 40. I was just having a conversation
One day
with
you'll
somebody.
be as old as me. It's fine.
I don't know what to do. Like, I feel like there's a very clear roadmap in life about, like, okay, so you're a kid, right? Your first 10 years, you don't know anything. You just
kid stuff, break things.
Yeah, you
run around in your
stuff.
diapers. It's
from
cool.
From 10 until say 20, it's like there's a whole bunch of road marks. There's a whole bunch of like milestones. Like,
learn things, be awkward.
I turned 13. I'm a teenager, or I'm 12. I'm a tween. And
boobies.
Then, like, 16, I get my learner's permit, and then like 18, I can vote and buy porno now, and then like
join the army.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, and then you look for 21 or whatever. So those years are turbulent, and you're in school and whatever. Then you hit 20, and now you're out in the world, and it's just like, woo, party down. I can finally eat candy all day, every day.
Or take 22 course hours a semester, whatever.
Or, if you're a responsible human being like you are.
Or stupid, glutton for punishment.
So your 20s, they're rocking, they're rolling, they're doing stuff. You hit 30, okay, now it's time to settle down. Is that what you want to do with your life? Start a family, do whatever?
No.
Or whatever.
No.
Or whatever.
Nope.
But I feel like there's a transition from your 20s. There's a culturally understood, what your 30s are about. After that, though, it starts to become real hazy. Like,
it's just a race of time to see which elements fail first.
Yeah, it's like, you're going to turn 40, and I'm like,
there goes the knee.
Good? Bad?
Maybe?
Is it? I don't know. But
yeah.
Anyway,
everybody's like, "Oh, how old are you going to be now?" And aren't you so excited to be turning 30? And I'm like, that's in another year, but 29 is cool so far. It's another year in between the stupidity of yesteryear.
Yep. I love turning 30 because it was like suddenly all of the expectations that you're going to go out on Friday night and punch somebody in the nuts, set your hair on fire, and rob a liquor store are gone. You can just be like, I've
never done any of those things. Dear God, what am I doing with my life?
When do you
I have
turn
a year.
30? Get on it.
I have a year from today to figure that shit out.
There you
Gotta go cause some mayhem.
Also, happy birthday.
Thanks.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
I don't like to tell people happy birthday on Facebook because I feel like it's a cop-out. I usually just wait until the next time that I see that person and go, happy birthday.
Well, now it's recorded forever and ever and ever on a
Damn
stream.
Right.
It happened.
So we've got a weird grab bag of news. I got one thing I think to talk about before we jump into the news, but I know that for your birthday you got the present of Star Wars.
I did.
How was
I gave myself the present of Star Wars. It was delightful and delicious and all of my feels. Oh, yes.
You liked it?
Oh, yes. Like is a mild understatement. I went with the big core group of my friends that I all play D&D with and things, and
so they're
all big Star Wars nerds. Like, they play in X-Wing tournaments.
So a bunch of mainstream non-geek people?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Totally. Totally. Yeah, no. So our nerd core went out and we watched it together, and we spent, I think, 30 or 45 minutes after the movie standing in the lobby talking about the movie and how great it was.
Okay.
And everybody insists that it is by far the best Star Wars film since The Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
Damn.
Well, I'm excited. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm very excited to see a Star Wars movie. It would have been nice to see a Star Wars movie that didn't involve a Death Star, but I was excited to see a Star Wars movie that did not revolve around the legacy of the fucking Skywalkers, because as much as I like Star Wars, I'm kind of tired of the Skywalker.
The name Skywalker
legacy
was never even mentioned in this movie.
Excellent. Well, okay, so here's a challenge. I have a challenge for anytime anybody likes a thing. Tell me 3 bad things about the movie without going into any spoilers. There's got to be some criticism somewhere in there.
Okay.
You should see Jennifer's really digging deep for this one.
I'm just trying to figure out how to phrase what I'm going to phrase.
Okay.
Some of the digital effects that were chosen to manifest in the movie gave me pause. There were a couple moments where I was like, oh, that's a choice.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know that I would have gone about it that way, but all right, cool. I'll remain vague. So there's some digital effects were not bad per se, just interesting choices.
Okay. By the way, folks, I'm making Jennifer be super vague here.
This is really hard.
It's just I'm so spoiler conscious about.
I am too. And I'm not going to ruin anything plot-wise of the movie because it's worth seeing. There were some very predictable plot twists. Not twists, but things that as a scene was unfolding, I'd be like, oh, I know where they're going with this.
Right.
Oh, they're going to go there, aren't they? Yep, they went there.
Okay.
So there are 3 or 4 or 5 moments of that.
Okay.
But minor things altogether.
It's just
didn't ruin the enjoyment.
Like I've seen a whole bunch of movies, so it's like a Chekhov's gun thing where it's like, you show me this thing, I know it's going to come
You know where
back.
this is going.
Right,
yeah.
right.
There's that. There weren't many things that we walked out of the theater going, yep, can't believe they did that.
Yeah.
We just talked about all the good shit.
Okay. So, in your opinion, better than episode 7?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
way better.
Okay.
I mean, it hits you more in the feels because it's leading up to subject matter we've already seen, right?
Right.
You know that somewhere around this area is where you're going into episode 4, right? It's like the tumultuous days that lead up to.
Okay.
So you're seeing stuff that you're like, oh yeah, that's a thing, and oh that thing led to that thing, and I see where this goes. Which is a really cool thing to see on screen. It's like things are coming to life that you never expected to see, and you're seeing them. And it's like so many questions are being answered, and I love that shit because I'm a history buff.
Who did they cast as Manny Bothans?
They didn't. That's later.
Oh. That's
the second
Jedi.
Death Star.
That's Jedi.
That's the second Death Star.
I love that.
I did that the first time too, though. I was like, oh yeah, that's a thing, and then I was like, no, that's the other Death Star. Damn it.
Yeah. I love that joke. Have you ever heard that?
Yes,
about Manny Bothans?
I do. I do
that.
enjoy that.
So okay, well let me put it this way. We're coming up to the end of 2016.
Yeah.
And it's I know how hard it is when you've seen a really great movie, but dig deep in the movies you've seen in 2016. Where would you put it?
Oh, right up at the top.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Unquestionably.
Yeah.
Better than Doctor Strange. Yeah. Okay. Better.
I've had more invested feelings in Star Wars than I have Marvel. My whole that was one of my very first fandoms with Star Wars. My dad and I, when I was like 4 or 5 years old, used to sit down and watch all 3 movies back to back and play Star Wars Trivial Pursuit and nerd out. So that's my idea of heaven there. Yeah, that one was right up at the top. The Marvel movies this year were fantastic too.
Yeah.
And then there are a few other movies that came out of the side that I enjoyed. I've enjoyed a lot of movies this year, and there haven't really been many that I was like, man, this sucked.
Yeah.
There were a couple, but not really much of anything. This year's been really good for movies.
Well, allow me to throw one onto the suck pile because last week I was rolling around Netflix looking for something to watch, and I was like, oh, look, Yoga Hosers is on Netflix.
Oh, I haven't yet.
Boy, is that a bad movie.
You're not the first to say so.
I know. I'm not really bringing anything new to the table.
Wait.
Yeah.
Are you a Kevin Smith fan in general?
I have a lot of very mixed feelings about Kevin Smith because I love all the early stuff, and I even go as far as I know a lot of people who don't like Clerks 2. I love Clerks 2 because Clerks 2 came out right around the time that I was turning 30, and it kind of deals with kind of
those
coming out of your dirty 20s into like you're supposed to be grown up and the expectations
that
people
next
have.
step conversation.
Exactly. And so it came right at the right time for me. I think it was great. Also, that was my first exposure to Rosario Dawson, and now I love her forever. So
wow, you had never before? You poor thing.
Actually, that's not true. I'm sure she'd been in movies I'd seen before, but that was like the first time that she was like front and center character.
Like Rent?
Like,
come on.
No.
Killing me, Smalls. Not surprised, but killing me.
But then after that, like, I'm kind of a Kevin Smith apologist. I never saw Jersey Girl because I just didn't. The subject matter doesn't hold any interest for me. I don't like movies with kids in it, and I'm just like, whatever. But Cop Out, I don't really consider to be his fault because it's somebody else's screenplay, and, you know, you're shooting the word somebody else wrote. And Cop Out's not the worst movie. Red State was, like, almost an okay movie. And then you got to Tusk, and that's where I feel like things have really gone off the rails. And a lot of the problems that I had with Tusk were the fact that I watched it, and it was kind of stupid, but it was very serious. Like, it was taking itself very seriously. And then over the end credits, they played the part of the podcast where him and, like, Scott Mosier are talking about making they're dreaming up this idea, and they're laughing at how stupid and funny it is. And I'm like, the final scene of your movie is the Justin Long now thinks he's a walrus, and like they're trying to rehabilitate it, but they've got him in like in a pen because he's just acting like a walrus. And I'm like, so you played this movie super seriously, and then the first thing that happens when you roll the credits is you start laughing. You play this 10 minute...
Talking about how non-serious.
Yeah, how non-serious. And it's like, well, come on.
I'm conflicted now.
Yeah. But Yoga Hosers was legitimately really not a very good movie. And what kind of sucks is that I can see where there was a good movie in there of, you know, teenage girls in Canada, slackers, and then there's like this stupid Nazi thing, and they're super into yoga and their phones and whatever. But it's like Kevin Smith wanted to be, what's his name? Scott Pilgrim guy, Edgar Wright. Like the movie stops to put up these bios of everybody with this music, and it's like, what? And they, but the worst part, and I will spoil this because I don't care. Go watch this on Netflix. But
thanks.
Is at the end when this monster gets sent out to destroy all critics because critics are so terrible, and I'm just like, dude, you've got to calm down with this. You've got to like let it go for a few minutes.
Do you feel like Kevin Smith needs a hug? Is that where you're going with that?
I think Kevin Smith needs a script doctor and somebody to lock up his weed like several times a day. Because
oh, goodness.
I'm not saying this isn't like celebrity gossip. Like he got up on stage and basically said after Cop Out he got depressed and just started smoking shitloads of weed. And I'm like, well, it shows because your projects have been real weird and disjointed, and I feel like there's not enough people to tell you, no, that doesn't work. Stop. We need to pull this part back. That you need somebody to come in, like Lucas, right? You need somebody to come in and hack off 20 or 30% of your bad ideas and be like, rewrite those until they're good.
Right.
So, yeah, Yoga Hosers, free on Netflix, not worth the 90 minutes of your time, I swear.
Noted.
Yeah. I also watched season 2 of Fuller House because...
I am judging you right now.
I don't know why anybody gets judgmental about that show. I don't understand it. People are like, oh man, it's so stupid. I'm like, did you watch Full House? Full House was stupid.
It was stupid. I never really liked that show to begin with.
It was super vanilla and inoffensive. I think I put it on and played like Let It Die for 4 hours while I was watching it because you don't have to watch it. And it's just like, what? It's just dumb sitcom drivel.
Yeah, I've never really been able to sink my teeth into shows like that. Yeah. Ever. I'm just like, meh.
I don't know why. It's almost like I don't like it. I just watch it. I mean, that's kind of how I felt about the original is, well, I don't like this show, but that's what's on at 4:30 in the afternoon after I get home from school,
Fair
so
enough.
I'm going to watch it.
I finally watched Supergirl.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
Did you watch that one?
No, I haven't really dug into the whole DC.
I don't really with Superman.
Yeah.
We've had that discussion.
Mm-hmm.
He's your boy and all, but he just doesn't suit my palate,
Sure.
which is fine. And that whole show, Supergirl, is just awash with typical placement of women in the workplace, and I don't know. It
like at a desk or
well, it's like they make it so Clark Kent's superhero disguise is, you know, the guy who's the journalist and doing the thing at the newspaper, but he actually has a purpose and is there for a reason because he believes in a thing.
Sure.
She becomes the assistant to a lady who owns a company that's basically a counterpart to the Daily Planet, and it's called Catco. And so it's this lady,
so she's like the Devil
Callista
Wears Prada.
kind of.
Yeah.
And she's got that same mean, bitchy, I have to be twice as much of a cunt because nobody will take me seriously if I'm not,
right,
kind of thing. But she's an assistant. Like, all that she does is goes and get coffee and donuts for her and take verbal beatings all the time. And it just
seems like a bad job to be a superhero because if, like, that doesn't seem like the sort of boss where if Brainiac is destroying downtown Star City that you can't be like, hey, do you need coffee? Do you need me to go on a coffee run?
Yeah.
No, are you sure? Do you sure you don't need whereas Clark Kent could just be like, there's a story, I've got to go, you know.
Yeah.
Like, work from home, Supergirl. Then you can just go and do it whatever you want to.
There's just so many continuity issues in that show. So many.
Yeah.
I like how bright and perky she is and how I care about life and everybody and I'm going to care even though I got dealt a shit hand, believe in the world. I like it, but the rest of it, I don't know.
That's the best part about Superman. That's why I don't like the current slate of movies because they're so
he's all
gloomy
dark.
And dark
Yeah.
and stuff. Like, I like that unfettered optimism mixed into an invincible character because it means that you don't have to do the whole, like, oh no.
The reluctant hero thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I've got a friend who's watching all of them, like right now.
All of the DC shows?
Mm-hmm. Like she just started with Green Arrow.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Like
she started with Green Arrow?
Well, she's doing it.
Oh, poor thing.
She's doing it like as they were released. So it's like she watched season 1 of Green Arrow and then started watching like season 2 of Green Arrow and season 1 of The Flash at the same time. Yeah. And then season 3 and season 4 and then like Legends of Tomorrow and Supergirl, trying to get all the way caught up to their big crossover thing. But
God, there's just so much boggy Arrow. Oh, man. So bad.
Boggy Arrow?
It's boggy.
Oh, okay.
Boggy. Like, it bogs you down like quicksand, and then you're just, like, wading through it because you're like, well, I committed to this, and I said I'd get all the way through it to the other side. But, God, how many times can he do this one plot twist?
When you said that, my brain instantly, like, was thinking of Foggy Nelson from Daredevil, and I'm like, who's Boggy Arrow? Is that a character on those shows?
Oh,
damn you, Boggy Arrow!
That damn Boggy Arrow. No, it's just, I can't with Arrow. I rage quit seasons ago.
People tell me that show is good, but they say a thing that I refuse. I refuse from now on when somebody says, oh man, Arrow is great. Like you have to watch season 1 and 2 and they're terrible, but when you get to season 3 it's like incredible. And I'm like, I don't have time
to get through those first 2 seasons of crap.
I don't have time for the first half of the first season to be garbage before it finally picks up. Like, we live in an era of unlimited things to watch on YouTube, and I've already got 6 games in my backlog right now. I don't need 40 episodes of your show when you can't get your shit together.
Of a time sink that has the same plot line over and over and over again. It just like repeats on a loop with different people in it. It's the worst. The worst.
It sounds bad. I mean,
The Flash was great. I loved The Flash.
Yeah.
That was real good.
Yeah.
But then they just tanked with the stupid Arrow.
Some people have been like, well, just skip the first season. I'm like, well, I'm not doing that either.
Well, so there's that. But then I have a friend who's caught up and was watching like the most current episode, and I just happened to be hanging out that day, so I was paying attention kind of halfway and sneering the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same fucking plot holes that happened in the first 2 seasons of the damn show before I rage quit. So he might be 6 seasons later, but he's saying the same things and still being an asshole and having power issues and falling in love with the wrong people and being mad about it and whatever. It's crap.
Fucking Oliver Queen.
Damn it, Oliver Queen, get your shit together.
There's only one show in the entire world that I believe that can pass the first season is crap test, and that is Parks and Recreation, because the first season is 5 episodes. And the second season starts with a complete recap of the entire first season.
Oh, so you could miss it.
Nice. And it would be fine, but whatever.
Fair enough.
Anyway, let's
do stuff.
Yeah, let's roll. We got news.
I've been salty and curmudgeon-y. I think that's because I'm old now. I'm all curmudgeon-y.
Is that what it is?
Get off my lawn.
Wait, you turned 29.
I did.
Correct?
My photographer friend Josh Baker, he called me up on my birthday and we were chatting a bit as we do. And he was like, you need to start trolling people really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Tell people you're 41 and then have them just like die.
Yeah.
And I was like, you are absolutely right. I need to do that.
I often wonder when people look at me how old they think I am, because I've got a face full of fat, so I don't have that many wrinkles, right? It's not like a very
He's grossly overestimating
super
his
slouchy face. I don't have any hair, so it's hard to try to tell via hairline, but I do have gray in my beard now.
But you
it's
have
not all the way.
like a sandy blonde beard anyway, so it doesn't really look like you've got a face full of gray.
Yeah.
It looks like you've got a face full of variegated sandy blonde.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder. Anyway.
All right, so
enough about my beard. On to the news.
Never enough about your beard, Jeff. Ever.
Jennifer is very, very excited this week. This is actually old news that kind of came up as there were a bunch of news stories this week that were like, hey, we're going to find out soon what Square's going to do for the 30th anniversary of Final Fantasy. And it's
oh,
like,
God, are they?
Well, wait a minute. I already know that information.
Shut up and take my money. Shut up and take my money.
Hey, folks, do you like Final Fantasy?
Yes.
Dog, I heard you like Final Fantasy.
Oh, yes.
So, all right, let's go down the list. All right. So in 2017, we're going to have the 30th anniversary of Final Fantasy. Now, we already knew that the Final Fantasy VII Remake first episode is supposed to be next year.
Which I've already purchased.
Yes, which I think is, bad. Don't pre-buy stuff.
It's Final Fantasy VII. I don't care.
I know.
It's the only game in the world that supersedes that for me.
I know, but I have to say it anyway.
I know.
And we also, it was heavily implied for a long time that Final Fantasy XII was going to be getting one of these HD up-res remake things.
Yep.
So that's coming out too. Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age, and that's going to be, I believe, on the PS4. But I didn't actually see this one coming where they're putting out the entire Final Fantasy XIII trilogy, 40 Fingers trilogy, on the PS4, which it's funny how... you haven't been on for me to be complaining about this, but I'm not feeling Final Fantasy 15 all that much. It's just not really doing a whole hell of a lot for me. And one of the things that I did to make sure that I was not crazy balls was to go back and play the beginning of Final Fantasy 13, Final Fantasy 13 2, Final Fantasy 13 3, and just check and see, like, are these intros better when I just look at them right side? Like, make sure it's not nostalgia goggles, that it's like if I just look at this.
Sure.
And the more that I thought about it, the more I'm like, I really liked the Final Fantasy 13 trilogy. Like, I had problems with it, and I was a little harsh on Lightning Returns when I reviewed it, but that's not a bad set of games. And if you can get this next year for $60 for all three of those, that's a hell of a lot of game.
Yeah, it is.
And you don't have to wait for them to come out, a year, 2 years apart from each other. You could just dive right in.
Dive right in and do it.
So that's great. So they're going to be... it's going to be 1080p, 60 frames per second. But the big one, is the 30th Anniversary Collection, which is Final Fantasy 1 through 9 on the PS4 and the PS Vita. And this is going to be, so the PC versions of Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9 that they've already put out, which hopefully they'll have, I haven't checked to see if they have an option to, because I really prefer to play those. You know how they smooth out all of the polygons and then it looks real smooth, but then the textures are real chunky. I'd rather just play the whole thing chunky style.
I agree. I'm the same way.
Campbell's chunky style Final Fantasy.
Yes.
So, yeah, and then there's going to be Final Fantasy 1 and 6 are both going to have... wait, no. There's going to be two versions of 1 and 6. The original NES and SNES, because Final Fantasy 6 is Final Fantasy 3 in the United States.
Right.
And then also the mobile ports, which I don't know if they're doing... There was a version of Final Fantasy 1 for the PSP that had, like, where they went back in and just redrew all of the sprites really big. So, and that was a great version of Final Fantasy that I hope gets in here. And then Final Fantasy 2 and 3 from the NES are basically going to be getting, for the first time, an actual official English translation.
Yay!
Yeah, so...
Nerd heart can't take it. And I kept reading, and it kept getting bigger and bigger, like the Grinch heart.
Yep. That's a lot of Final Fantasy.
It gets better, though. There's more.
Yeah, that is true. Because I am firmly 100% anti-collector's edition anything.
I never do the thing. I don't normally.
Because it's usually not worth it. What do you get? You get
a Chinchy keychain and a T-shirt and
a statue of Sora and some stickers, and I'm going to lose both of those things, and who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
This Crystal Complete Edition
is sexy. All
right, folks. Here's what you're getting for the Crystal Complete Edition of Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy 30th Anniversary Edition, which is Final Fantasy 1 through 9, Final Fantasy X/X2 HD, Final Fantasy 12, Zodiac Age, Final Fantasy 13 Trilogy, Final Fantasy 15 and all the DLC, Final Fantasy 14, A Realm Reborn, including all the expansions plus a 3-month subscription, and special items for Final Fantasy 11 mobile and Final Fantasy 14 will be included as well. Those are the games, and then you also get... 2 extra discs for the soundtrack, a crystal necklace, a Moogle plush, a Black Mage statue, all 3 Final Fantasy trading card game starter decks, Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, Kingsglaive Final Fantasy 15, and Brotherhood Final Fantasy 15, all packaged up in a luxury chest decorated with the Final Fantasy logo. That is...
Sorry, my clothes are coming off. I can't help myself.
Is every Final Fantasy game and movie except, conspicuously, The Spirits Within and Final Fantasy 11, which
we just kind of don't talk about.
Yeah.
The Spirits Within.
I
just
don't. I don't mind.
I watched
Spirits
it.
Within.
I got it. I dug it.
I understand why Square wouldn't want to put it in here, considering the fact that they created a film company to make that movie that then bankrupted said film company.
Yep.
So if you guys want to pretend like that doesn't exist, great. But the only problem with this is that I was talking with John the other day, and we were doing the mental math. How much do you think this will cost?
I don't know.
Because
like $500, $1,000, something.
I'm
stupid.
thinking somewhere between $400 and $500, which is not unreasonable for all of the exclusive physical stuff that they're giving you with it.
Right.
But it's also pretty unreasonable. The games, what they're selling you as far as games there is upwards of a couple $100 worth of games. Because if you think the Final Fantasy 1 through 9 will be a $160 disc, 13 will be a $160 disc, 14 is still a $30 to $60 game, 15 is a $60 game, 12 remaster is going to be a $60 game. Final Fantasy X and X2 is a $60 game. Actually, now that I think about it, Kingsglaive costs $20 online. Advent Children costs you $20 to get a physical copy.
So really, just the cost of the games itself would justify like a $500 price.
It's probably going to be more like $6 now that I think about it. And the problem is that I can't spend as much as a VR headset on every Final Fantasy game because I've already purchased most of those games. And although I like buying them all again in a big collector's thing, the problem I have with getting excited about any of that stuff is that I know eventually that chest full of games is going to be sitting in my closet. That after a year, I'm going to be like, I played all the games, and it's been sitting there for 6 months, and I look at it and go, yay! But I need to put something else where that chest is. So
I will get it, most likely.
Yeah?
And I will use the chest in my stream background because I've been needing items to decorate my office and things because I don't have any. The only Final Fantasy games I own are 7, 8, 10, and 10-2. Well, and now 15.
Okay.
Those are the only ones I own.
Okay.
So going through it for 1 through 6 is totally worthwhile for me. And being able to play them on my PlayStation 4 will make my life so easy.
Did you play 6?
Yeah.
You told me the story, right?
Yeah.
Of watching. Okay.
That was my first Final Fantasy game.
Okay. Have you ever won? Did you go back? Did you get the NES one? That one's rough. That one's hard. It's a harder game.
Is it that one I have, or is it 2 that I have on Super Nintendo? I can't remember. I've got one of them at the house.
Well, one was an NES game.
That I don't have.
And then if you have original PlayStation, there's also, they made like some PSX.
Anthology version. Yeah.
But anyway, that's a hell of a lot of Final Fantasy.
It's a whole lot. I need it. God, I need it so bad.
Yeah. Strangely enough, out of all of those things, I'm kind of looking forward to having an excuse to play through 13 again. And maybe beat 12, because I never did, because it got boring eventually. But I have a problem where at about 40 hours of any JRPG, I have to...
Your brain shuts down.
There's a hump I have to push through, and if I can't, then I will just stop. I will trick myself by saying, oh, I'm going to go play something else for a few minutes, and then I'll come right back to it.
And then you won't.
Nope. So anyway, Final Fantasy. If you like it, boy, you're in luck for 2017. Now, next up, we have a story about this is based on a VentureBeat story about the Nintendo Switch. And this is just kind of talking about the technical specs of it and how it's going to be it's going to be less powerful than a PlayStation 4, which is basically shouldn't be a surprise to anybody because since it's a mobile, it's using the Tegra, and that's you got to conserve power and space. But it does mean that again, Sony is coming in. They're
top of the class.
Well, they're coming at the bottom of the class hardware spec wise because the PlayStation's moving to the PS Pro, Xbox One is moving to Scorpio, and if they're coming in less than a regular PS4, that means that from a graphical perspective, it's going to be more difficult for their console yet again to get new games on it because if the processing power required to run a new game, if the minimum spec for that is, say, an Xbox One, and this is below that, then there's a possibility that a developer's not going to want to develop a bad-looking, more poorly performing version of their game for this somewhat anemic system. It basically is the same thing that Nintendo's been doing for years. The
Right.
Wii was less powerful than the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox, and the Wii U was less powerful than the PS3 and the 360. Or was it? No, that was slightly more powerful than those, but only just. So Nintendo's still banking on basically the interesting design aesthetic and kind of different take on how you do video games to make up for the difference in power. But I don't know that that's really a thing that I'm sure that anybody could have told you that. But they also talked about they're going to be having kind of a much bigger presentation in January, where we're probably going to start to hear about things like what games are actually going to be on it and what maybe price. Although I doubt it. I bet price will be an E3 next year announcement. But
Yeah, that sounds about right.
yeah. Oh, I was actually going to just tell you. You stream. You've got Moogles all over your Twitch channel, right?
Oh, yeah, I do.
You should send the PR department at Square Enix an email saying, if you send me that chest, I will put it behind me in every single live stream I do from now until the end of
Man,
time.
they're not going to listen to me.
Hey, you
I'm
know what?
small fucking potatoes.
No.
I'm not even I don't even have 500 subscribers on my fucking channel.
You know what? The worst thing that could happen is that
they
they
say
ignore
no?
you and say no. And
You're
then
not
what?
wrong. You know what? You're not wrong. You're going to help me. You're going to help me draft this letter. This is going to happen.
It starts, yo, Square Bro.
Square bro, I'll be your bae forever if you send me your shit.
I like Moogles. And
I've loved
shit.
you. I've loved you for so long. Let me count the ways. Do you like me too? Check yes or no.
Sure, no. Dear Square Enix, do you like me? Do you want to go to Final Fantasy prom with me?
Please, God, yes, please. Is there a Final Fantasy prom?
I knew when I
want to
said
go to that.
that your first.
I need it
your first-
in my life.
I know you're joking, but is there
I'm not.
one? Is
I'm
there a
not
Final
joking
Fantasy
at all.
prom?
God, if there was one, holy shit!
You'd already be there. We'd never be able to get you to do
I'm
anything ever
imagining
again.
a dress covered completely in chocobo feathers, and another dress completely covered in Moogle print.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yep. You should see Jennifer wants to go to this imaginary. You put those two words together, and it's just like bada bing, bada boom.
Those three words, Final Fantasy prom.
Final Fantasy prom. Yes, Final Fantasy is all one word in my head. So anyway, speaking of the Nintendo Switch, we also had a bit of a weird teaser for this game called Seasons of Heaven, which is the first or one of the first Nintendo Switch exclusive kind of indie titles. And I got to say that, coming off of a story we were just talking about how the graphics or how the hardware on the thing isn't the most powerful, it's still a testament to that we have a lot of experience making games look really good, because this is all out in this forest, and there's not a whole lot to this trailer, but it does look real nice.
It's beautiful.
Nice lighting engine, nice kind of little shimmering grass, in the wind and stuff like that. So, unfortunately, this is a teaser for join us back here on December 19th. And
Come back here and
show
look
you
at the
more.
stuff.
Which is why do you do this entertainment? Why do you tease me for your trailer? Just put the trailer out. Quit
Just
trying
give me
to
the trailer.
Just quit tease me. But I'll tell you what we did get a nice bunch of trailers for was For Honor. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with For Honor.
I know it, but I've not played.
Vampires, werewolves, and samurai. No, samurais,
Yes.
Vikings, and knights. And this, they actually put out a nice story trailer, which is something I've been looking for, which is all about, narrated by the villain, who is this character right here, Apollyon, who is, I don't know if this lady is just a Darth Vader style just bad person, or a god or magic or something, but this whole trailer is basically kind of narration with her saying oh man, everybody used to fight all the time and it was great, and now they've all stopped fighting and it sucks, so we're gonna make them all fight each other again, and then it's gonna be awesome. Which, great, that's as flimsy of a story as I need for a game about Vikings and samurais chopping each other up with battle axes and stuff like that.
Just get to it.
Yeah, which this game, I don't know. It's kind of weird. My brain keeps forgetting that this game exists and is coming out on Valentine's Day, I believe.
Fitting.
Yeah. But this trailer looks real nice. I mean, it all looks like it's in the in-game engine. There's a bunch of people running around screaming, pointing swords at each other, wearing bears and, stabbing.
Sounds like a typical Thursday for me.
Yeah, wearing a bear and stabbing somebody.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, I'm still excited about this. I really wish that For Honor had kept its release date for this year, because it was supposed to come out this year and then they pushed it back to 2017.
I think people have just realized that 2016 is fucked.
Yeah.
And they're just like, "Nuh-uh, we want no part of that shit. We're gonna wait. Let all the bad karma pass."
2016 has finally done me in. I was like starting the beginning of my thinking about Game of the Year thing, and I'm running down the list going, what were the great games that I played this year that were not either sequels, remakes, or HD versions of games that I've already played? Because I don't count HD versions, but sequels or remakes. And that's a lot of even the stuff that I liked. Like Doom was a sequel to the Doom franchise. Hitman was a sequel to the Hitman franchise. Watch Dogs 2 was a sequel to Watch Dogs.
Right.
I'm having a hard time coming up with that many brand new games that really wowed me this year outside of probably Overwatch. Even Dark Souls 3, that's the third Dark Souls. And so I've just gotten really tired. Last week we talked at length about how, as much as I like The Last of Us, I'd rather see them make another new game than a sequel to The Last of Us.
Yeah.
The same way that I wasn't that juiced on Uncharted 4, because it was just, it was the fourth Uncharted game, right? And it was fine.
Which I actually just started.
Oh, yeah?
I finally got to start it.
It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I think it was a little bit too long. But on the other hand, you can only excite me one time for a new concept. So when you give me, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people out there get really excited for whatever the next iteration of a franchise that they like is. But I feel that it almost never works out that way. I mean, the number of sequels that are equal to or better than the original, to me, seems less than the number that were disappointing or a rehash or just didn't
I mean, with the Uncharted games specifically, each game got better for me, with the exception of 3. I just didn't like 3. And I got stuck a lot in 3 and rage quit a lot. As in, I had to put it down for a couple weeks and go play something else because I was just so frustrated with being stuck in this one place. And it's always in the battle system for Uncharted. It's always some battle that I just can't figure out the strategy to get through it, and I just can't. But I'm enjoying the fourth one. I want to say I'm 5 or 6 hours into it, and it's been pretty good so far.
I mean, the way that I've ranked them after playing them all is basically it's like an inverted check mark, basically, right? So 1 was good, 2 was better, 3 was worse than 1 and 2,
Yeah.
and then 4 is either on the level of 3 or maybe slightly below it, which is a testament to me for Naughty Dog, because I feel like they don't make bad games, but I'll be honest, Uncharted 4 has entirely too much flashback that goes on for entirely too long.
There's so much cinematic in that game. Yeah, I've already started noticing that. It's just so much.
And the game's 14 hours long, and there's a lot of it where, one of the problems that I got into, and this is only a problem because I've played 4 of these games before, is that I see what you want me to do. I'm going to shimmy along this crack. I'm going to jump to this rock. I'm going to jump to this rock and this rock and this rock. And now I'm just going to spend 5 minutes watching my reflexes do that, and it's not especially difficult. There's not very many ways to fuck up, and if I do fuck up, all you've done is waste my time, make me start this over. So it gets to a point, the grappling hook stuff is great, and there's some great action sequences of running and jumping and throwing out your grappling hook.
Down an incline.
But towards the end of the game, you're like, oh boy, another wall, and I've got to climb up it. I've done this so many times in all 4 of these games.
During one of the first cinematic, movie length parts of that game, I was able to completely and totally paint my nails and let them dry before it finished. No lie, I am not shitting you.
I believe it. I believe it. Did you see the announcement last week at the PSX for the Chloe and Nadine game?
No, but
Oh, you don't
I'm
know
really
this?
excited
Okay,
about that.
they're making a spinoff, and I don't think we're sure yet whether this is DLC or whether it's a whole separate game. That's basically because they started it with this 8-minute long video of this woman in India in like a kind of a head to toe outfit with her face all covered and everything, walking through these kind of battle torn streets, and she gets up to the top of this thing, and these soldiers all come out and they pull the thing off her head, and it's Chloe, and then Nadine kind of comes out from one side and starts punching people, and they have a little one-liner, and then it's like, we're making an Uncharted spinoff, which is the Chloe and Nadine game. And I'm like, great.
Cool.
Do that.
Do it.
Sounds great. I love it.
Give me some new mechanics.
Yeah.
Give me something different.
Please don't flash back to when either one of them were children, and you and I will not have a problem. It'll be just fine. But like what I said last week is I feel like I'm done with Drake, and I feel like I've seen enough of Drake's story, and I just don't really want to see any more of Drake's story. Now, people don't like that because I feel like when people like a thing, they just want to see.
They want more and more and more of it.
Endless iterations of it,
right.
And that's probably just a difference in my focus versus other people's focus. Is that I'd rather see like watching the Dark Souls team go from Dark Souls, watching Miyazaki go from Dark Souls to Bloodborne was beautiful, and then watching him come back to Dark Souls 3 was kind of like, well, okay, but I'd much rather have these really talented teams and these really talented artistic directors
doing new life, new things.
Just every year we're planting a new tree. Every year,
Absolutely.
Here's a new franchise. Here's a new franchise. Here's a new franchise. Because, like I said, this year has been a lot of remakes and a lot of sequels. Anyway, that was a tangent and a half.
We've been tangenty today.
Yeah,
we're curmudgeon-y. Get off our lawn.
Yeah. That's why I like Final Fantasy, because every Final Fantasy
it's new.
Is different.
Everyone's different.
Yeah.
Yep.
If Final Fantasy 15 was the 15th installment in the story of the Warriors of Light, I would be like,
I'd been dead 5-10 games ago.
Please stop.
End it.
Reboot.
Just end it.
Anyway, this For Honor trailer also came with a bunch of other trailers for very specific folks. There was this kind of heavy samurai, and there was kind of a lighter knight character. And it still looks real good. It's funny because when they first announced this, the gameplay looked a little bit like it kind of had a bullshotty feel to it, where it's like Ubisoft used to be kind of bad about showing you super cleaned up versions of their games that when you actually got the game, it didn't look like that. But I can look at this and see this running on a PS4 or a high-end PC or something like that. So, but yeah, we'll see for Valentine's Day. Give the gift of smashing somebody in the face with a giant club for Valentine's Day. Nothing says I love you like giant Viking dudes smashing each other's faces in.
I mean, that's me every weekend at Ren Fair.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a cool thing happen.
Okay.
So at the Sherwood Forest Renaissance Festival, they have a Viking camp, and they do like Viking invasions and all sorts of things. They are having their war band compete in the games this season.
Okay.
And they've asked me to come referee.
Nice.
Dying of happiness right now.
All right, next up on the trailer parade.
Speaking of.
This year, talking all about Uncharted 4 for a long time.
Let's talk more about Uncharted 4.
Yeah, this week they released the new survival mode, which is basically a co-op multiplayer mode where you fight against successive waves of computer-controlled bad guys in an attempt to survive. So this is a free update. It's got a whole bunch of new things that you can unlock. It's also got a bunch of weird, like, magical pirate stuff, which really, really appeals to me. Like the fact that you can get a skin that's a pirate skeleton with a machine gun swinging.
It's kind of awesome.
Yeah. But I don't know. This is we saw a trailer for this, I think like a week ago or 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks last month. I don't know. Time is a mystery. This looks all right. And as a free update, I'm glad that they're doing, that this isn't the sort of thing that they're asking for $5 for or anything like that. It looks all right. I don't know. Do you play any of the Uncharted multiplayer?
I haven't gotten to that yet.
Okay. What are you thinking about what you're seeing here? Jennifer hasn't had a chance to see any of these trailers because I'm all out of whack today. So
it's different. It looks fun.
It's got a lot of pirate magic.
I'm so down with ghost pirate magic.
Yeah.
Please. Was that Laura Croft? It looks like Laura Croft for a second.
Elena, actually. Let's see. There we go. New vanity items. Nope.
Before that. There.
think that's Elena.
Looks like Laura fucking Croft. Look at that. Look at that shit. That's totally Laura Croft. Wearing her tank top and a sporin, apparently.
I think I know. There's one person that's on my friends list that I think is really interested in this. Is I have one friend that's been like super into the multiplayer for every Uncharted game.
Oh.
Who would probably like this. I liked the Uncharted multiplayer okay. I just never really felt a need to go back and ever try to play it after we played it. We played it for one Sunday stream after it had come out, and I don't feel like I ever felt the need to go back and look at it again.
Well, maybe after they release the Magical Pirate stuff, we'll go back and play.
Maybe. I think it's today, or was this week at least sometime.
Nice.
I'll tell you what, I am going to go back and play over and over and over again. And, you know, my policy on pre-ordering things is don't do it.
Yeah, I know. We already had this discussion today.
I know. But there is one thing that I will pre-order, and that is Sniper Elite 4. And the reason that I will pre-order Sniper Elite 4 is because of the pre-order DLC wherein you get to shoot in the face Der Fuhrer himself, Hitler.
All right, then.
Yep.
You have strong feelings on this, I see.
I do. Back in the olden days, Jason and I played this game, and shooting Hitler in the junk was the funnest thing that we ever did.
All right, then. Ever.
Have you ever played the Sniper Elite series?
I have not, but I have a feeling I would enjoy it. I very much like sniping things from a long distance away.
Yeah, it's interesting because they have all of the character models have like their bones and internal organs in them, and when you shoot them in an especially destructive way, it slows down time.
Yeah, I've seen that. It shows you.
Yeah. And
that's kind of awesome.
Yeah, so nothing more fun than shooting Hitler right in the mustache. And the only time that I could, if you wanted to get me to pre-order a thing, give me Kill Hitler DLC for it, and I will totally do that.
Noted.
I still don't get tired of killing Hitler. So I'm never like, kill Hitler? I could, but I don't know. Seems like a pain in the ass. Next up, we got a couple of kind of little indie games.
This looks adorable.
This is Night in the Woods, which I actually kind of think looks pretty awesome. Little cat platformer thing. It's got a really cool looking art style.
It's in the same art style as like Oxenfree and Year Walk.
Oh yeah. I can kind of see that. I don't know what this is, but it looks really interesting. Like, I would really like to play this. It seems to have some platforming, but it seems to be more of like an adventure.
Who created this one?
That's a good question. Let's see. I just saw it and was like, let's see. From Infinite Fall is the name of the company.
Fall.
I don't know who that is. Let me see. Let me look them up real quick. Let's see. Studio founded by game designer Alec Halawaka, and animator illustrator Scott Benson. Alec is made Aquaria and I'm Okay, a murder simulator. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, if you're interested, you guys should go check out the Night in the Woods trailer because it looks like
real cute.
Bunch of talking animals and weird like running around, and it's hard to tell exactly what the hell is going on here.
It says this isn't Night in the Woods, is it?
Yes, this is Night in the Woods.
So this is college dropout Mae Borowski returns home to the crumbling former mining town of Possum Springs, seeking to resume her aimless former life and reconnect with the friends she left behind.
Okay.
But things aren't the same. Home seems different now, and her friends have grown and changed.
Yeah.
Leaves are falling and the wind is growing colder. Strange things are happening as the light fades.
Cool.
And there's something in the woods.
All right. Yeah, could be good. This is such a toss-up, though, because I've played some of these artsy-fartsy indie games that are sometimes good.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're really, really self-indulgent and kind of tedious.
What do you call self-indulgent?
Think of a good example. Boy, put me on the spot, why don't you?
Sorry, I was just curious.
That's fine. I should be able to list stuff off. That Dragon Cancer? No, that's a bad example. I don't. Rage Select has a very special and unique relationship with the game That Dragon Cancer because we went to E3 and Jason, one of the devs, showed it to him and then was like, by the way, this is about my son who's dying of cancer. And he was just like, Jesus, man, come on. I'm at the Entertainment Expo. Just I don't know. Actually, that's a good question. I'll have to get back to you on that.
Fair enough.
I've played some over the course of time. What was that one? Big Tapes and Open Roads that Amanda and I played, something like that on the PlayStation. I don't know. Sorry, everybody. Anyway, next up, if you're a big fan of Resident Evil, you can maybe go check out Daymare 1998, which looks like it's basically just an Unreal Engine 4 version of Resident Evil 4. And if that's what people are looking for because Resident Evil 7 is too much of a change from the series for them, this looks like a real detailed game with a dude walking around shooting at zombies with guns. I don't know. Does this do anything for you?
Not at all.
Okay. That's right. You don't do the Zom, right?
I do not.
Yeah.
I am emphatically against the Zom.
Okay. What do you think about Resident Evil 7? Have you played the demo for Resident Evil 7?
Nope.
No?
Nope.
There are no zombies in Resident Evil 7. It's more of like you're trapped in like a weird house.
Yeah, I saw the demo for it at E3.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the house. They had a full life-size house version of the thing.
Yeah.
And just
No?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. I'll watch someone else play it, but nope. No, thank you.
Okay. So yeah, Daymare 1998. I'm not going to talk too much about it. It kind of came up this week, and it was like, that's kind of interesting. As well as Warhammer 40K Inquisitor, which looks like basically just Diablo in the Warhammer 40K universe, which, if done correctly, could be really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But it's one of those things.
It looks pretty beautiful.
All of the earmarks for this look pretty decent right now. Procedurally generated, bunch of different planets, inside, outside. The graphics seem like they're all right. It's just going to be a question of, this is one of those games again that could go either way, where they could,
right.
It could, if it runs poorly and the upgrade system is too vanilla and the procedural generation isn't dynamic enough, it could end up just being a slog. Could end up just being kind of boring. But, yeah. All right, and now I have a whole bunch of stories just to announce to people that there's apparently a ton of things to do for Christmas this year.
Oh, really?
Yep. All the online stuff is having Christmas. The first one, of course, being that Overwatch is having a big old Christmas celebration. From now until Christmas, they're giving away, or not giving away, but they're handing out loot boxes with Christmas-themed items, and then there's a whole separate new mode called Maze Snowball Fight, where everybody jumps in as the same character, and they all basically shoot snowballs at each other, and then all the maps have a kind of a Christmassy edge to them, which is great. I think the Overwatch has been super good this year. They had a Halloween event,
Yep.
They had an Olympics event, they had a whole bunch of different events, and
Hey, girl, hey.
yeah.
Let her punch me with mistletoe.
Would a maker punch you in the face?
I would.
But yeah, it looks real fun, and we're definitely, if you're listening to this podcast, chances are you just got done watching us play this live, because that's what we're playing on Sunday. And I don't give a fuck how many times we play Overwatch, because I fucking love playing Overwatch. So
Hey, as long as you love it, boo.
You
do, you boo.
I do.
You know what else is doing winter stuff right now?
Tell me.
Pokemon Go.
Is it? I don't
are.
have that story. What are they doing?
They've got they're doing their typical thing like they did for Halloween, where you could walk less and you get more eggs and more things. They just released more I was going to say animals, more Pokemon into the world.
Mm-hmm.
You can now catch Togepi. You can get Pichu and Togepi. That can happen for you. Can happen.
Those words mean very little to me.
They're cute and pretty useless Pokemon, but that's fine.
Okay.
And then
they have like little Santa hats.
There's also some of them do apparently, because I saw somebody catch a Pikachu that had a Santa hat on it, but none of the Pokemon I've caught in the last couple days have Santa hats on them. So I don't know if that's a special thing or only certain types of Pokemon. I don't know.
Okay.
Something.
I would like
stuff.
I would like everybody to just put Santa hats in all their games. That's all I need. I don't need a full-on Christmas thing.
Absolutely. Or like reindeer antlers.
Yep.
Corn cob pipe business.
Absolutely. So that's Overwatch. Wow, this is funny how my entire browser just crashed. Gears of War 4 is also having a bunch of holiday awesomeness where you can get and I'm not a fan of the ugly Christmas sweater movement. I feel like it was one thing when you were given sweaters that people thought were legitimately fine sweaters.
Yeah.
And they turned out to be ugly. But
I kind of love any excuse to be ridiculous.
yeah.
So I enjoy it.
I think there's an irony of, like you watch old movies, right? And it's like, or what's first Bridget Jones, right? When what's his face is wearing
the jumper,
skanky
yep.
Christmas sweater or whatever, and it's like, oh, my grandma gave this to me, and you're wearing it. It's another thing when you go to a website and like, oh man, I need that Stranger Things ugly Christmas sweater.
I need it. I do.
I don't know. Anyway, Gears of War 4 is basically adding in 3 ugly Gearsmas armor characters, gingerbread weapon skins, festive tree weapon skins, snowman weapon skins, wrapping paper weapon skins, and commemorative Gearsmas emblems. And basically, I think this is in the multiplayer. It's like you've got people dressed up like presents, and you've got gingerbread guns, and you've got
I dig that
locusts and stuff. Also,
bring on the ridiculous. Bring it.
Yeah. Destiny is doing a Christmas event called The Dawning, where they've got some new kind of Christmas themed ice stuff. They've got some new sparrow races and some armors that are kind of Christmassy that have a little bit of a winter theme to them.
Yes.
I don't really do Destiny, so that. Final Fantasy 15 is actually giving you, at least if nothing else, if you don't have the season pass, you can get a little special holiday border that you could put around the pictures that you take of them boys in the game. There's also some other stuff that you can get if you do have the season pass. It's a little bit more Christmassy. There's this one thing that is listed on this in this list that says Carnival Passport, an adorably adorned ticket that whisks the bearer away to a fun-filled carnival for a limited time.
Interesting.
I don't entirely understand that, but
I'm mildly concerned.
Yep. And Planet Coaster, everybody's favorite roller coaster simulator that I am unable to make work properly, is also getting a bunch of stuff that lets you basically build holiday, Christmassy themed roller coasters, and then all of the guests in the park have little Christmas hats, and there's gingerbreads and stockings and stuff like that. So
too cute. Oh, a little elf hat.
Yep. Planet Coaster's that was a really, really fun game. I need to get back to that. And then last, but certainly not least, I added this in because the Elder Scrolls Online is having a holiday event called the New Life Festival, which sounds suspiciously like Life Day Festival to me, which then conjures up horrible images of the Star Wars holiday special.
Oh, you poor thing.
Yeah, when I worked at Sony and they were still running Star Wars Galaxies, there was a year where they decided that their Christmas event, all the rewards for their Christmas event were going to be outfits and props and things from the Star Wars holiday special. So it's like, as a QA tester, we had to look at the Wookiee sex chair from the Star Wars holiday special and then compare it to the in-game model of a Wookiee sex chair and make sure that the two weren't grossly different in any way, shape, or form.
Wow, you poor thing.
Have you seen the Star Wars holiday special?
Nope.
Oh my God. No, seriously. Chewbacca's dad is in there and he just gets this chair. It's like this big chair and he sits in it and these VR goggles come down over his helmet. And what follows is basically him watching this Twi'lek girl dancing around, and
he's watching VR porn.
Yeah, and they keep cutting back to his face, and all you can see is the bottom of his face, and he's working his jaw back and forth and making weird Wookiee noises, and I'm like, I don't need to see.
We don't
Wookiee
need that. Who
on.
made this? Why is this a thing?
I mean, if I'm gonna watch any Wookiee get turned on, the last thing I want to watch is an old Wookiee getting turned on. Anyway, everybody should watch the Star Wars Holiday Special. It's pretty insane.
With that glowing recommendation.
It's the first time you get to see Boba Fett, and he's bright purple because it's animated. There's several different musical numbers, including B. Arthur runs the cantina and has a song. There's one, some guy plays this multi-armed lady cook, like a Julia Child's alien. The whole thing is strange. Wookiee Life Day
Are
is...
you sure you weren't just like hitting the drugs too hard?
No.
Jeff?
Everybody will tell you this is a real thing. It used to be that you could only find it like on, you have to do like a VHS tape trade, but the whole point of it is that the Imperials have taken over Kashyyyk, and Chewbacca is trying to get home for Christmas, for Wookiee Life Day. And so it's like on the Wookiee home planet, it's his wife and like kid and dad, and it's weird. It's really, really strange.
I'm getting that.
It's also a musical, by the way. Like there's 5 or 6 different musical numbers in the Star Wars Holiday Special. So anyway, back to the news. We're going to wrap this up pretty quickly here. Twitch is actually doing something that I really like called Automod. That's coming pretty soon.
Yeah, it's out. Automod is a thing.
It's out already?
Yeah,
okay.
Oh yeah, that's been out for weeks.
Where you can basically well, have you ever used it?
Yes.
Basically, what do you do? Tell us about it.
So if you have a Twitch channel, you've always had your personal channel interface where it's this page that you can adjust all of your settings and things. There's now a new part of that page where you can, in the same way that you would tag somebody to send them a whisper.
Okay.
In that same way, you can type in anybody's name. Their screen name will pop up. You click on them, and you've added them to this list of channels to auto-host.
Okay.
So you can have as many as you like on there or whatever. So the people that you know you would normally go around hosting, you can set it up to just automatically do things like that.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no, that's hosting. This is modding. This is a different thing. I just realized that halfway through me saying that.
I was like, yeah.
You're like, wait, what? You know this.
That explains something that I've had as a question. But this is basically a way to set up certain types of filters to basically block people from saying things in your chat room before they type it.
There
hit
are
return,
partners
and it
for Twitch that have that already active. I guess that are testing it, because I saw somebody talking about using it the other day in chat. Who was that?
Apparently, this is going to be a thing where you can teach it. It's like supposed to actually have it's supposed to have some learning capabilities, and there's going to be some setting stuff for it. It's on Twitch right now, but I like that because I've seen some. There have been some times where I've only had a couple of problems with Twitch. One was last year when Episode 7 came out and we decided to play the Episode 7 DLC for Battlefront. There were a bunch of people who were just wanted to come in and spoil what happens at the end of Episode 7.
Boo, rude.
Yeah, and it's like 2 days after the movie came out, which I fortunately got to see beforehand. But we couldn't stop them because what they were doing is they were just going to anybody's channel that was playing Star Wars Battlefront, and then they would just make new accounts coming back in. And because you can't IP ban somebody on Twitch, they just, you ban them, they make a new account, they come back in, and they do it again.
Right.
Which I find to be really shitty. Like, I know...
Yeah, it's only happened a couple times to me, but it's the worst.
I know why they do that. Like, I understand the mentality of, like, look how funny it is that these people are so upset about... I'm talking about a movie... I'm talking about a movie about space wizards, and look how upset this guy is getting over this. That's hilarious. On the other hand, it's just a real dickbag move, and mostly because I don't know, just the concept of spoilers are terrible for me. But I've watched some. I mean, we've had some stories that have come up about, like there was a guy that was in a Hearthstone tournament, and his family was watching him. He was like in the finals, and he was a black guy, and the Twitch chat, there was a section of the Twitch chat that just went full shitty racist, full shitty internet racist. And afterwards, when they were talking to him, he's like, I feel really bad that like my little sister had to see that stuff coming through because she's just trying to watch me play and then keep up with what people are saying. So I don't know. I think
don't be shitty people. All right. Just don't be shitty.
I think we're past that point because if people have the ability to be shitty on the internet, they will be shitty on the internet. So I think that this is a good thing, that if you want to lock down your channel and be like...
Absolutely. More tools are a good thing.
Yeah. There you go. All right. Lost Odyssey is free on the Xbox One and 360 until December 31st. There you go.
Woo!
Have fun. Go download it. Have fun. It's an old JRPG that I've always wanted to play. So, and... Fire Emblem, Shadow Dragon, and Metroid Other M are out with backwards compatibility on the Wii U.
Heyo.
I actually, if it wasn't the end of the year, I've never played Metroid Other M before, but I've heard nothing but terrible things about it, and I'd like to see for myself whether this is a case of actual terrible or hyperbole terrible. And last but not least, so a few months back, you remember they released the Assassin's Creed 2 HD collection, and during one of their playthroughs, I believe it was on Polygon or something like that, this image came up of a man who was in the background of a crowd scene in Assassin's Creed 2 with the weirdest look on his face. And when you compare this man to the way that he originally looked in Assassin's Creed 2, somehow they, in this remaster, they made him look very strange. His mouth is wide, his lips are very red, his eyes are bugging out.
He's been having a day.
And when you go back and compare it to what it looks like, what the game looks like on the Xbox 360, like this guy didn't look like it didn't have this dumb face. But apparently they put out a patch to fix this. So if you've been waiting to play Assassin's Creed 2, if you've been waiting to get away from this bug-eyed maniac, apparently now's the chance.
That's so ridiculous that that's a thing.
Yep, it's in the patch notes for patch 102. Fix a weird NPC face.
There you go.
So that's it. All right, stick around. We'll be back in just a minute. We're going to do some emails. We didn't get to do any last week, so I've got a ton.
All right.
Week.
I'm in.
So, yeah, we'll be back in just a minute.
Yeah.
And we're back. We're back.
We are.
Yes.
We're here.
Yes. And it's time for questions. And,
Yes.
mail@rageselect.com is the email address to email your questions to. This would also be the place where I do like a little mini review of games, but there are too many.
And we did a lot of that today already.
I'm stuck. I'm stuck on Final Fantasy 15. I've got Let It Die. I haven't touched The Last Guardian, which kind of pisses me off because I waited for years for that game to come out, and now it's like I've just had so much prepping for the holidays that I
enjoyed your video with Matt about it.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. I mean, big chicken cat dog monster thing
with a lightning tail.
Gotta
love it.
Yep. So yeah, I don't have anything to review this week. Mail@rageselect.com is the email address, and our first question this week comes in from Christian. Christian says, "Hello, sexy Jeff and sexy Jennifer.
Woo!
Watching the reveal trailer for The Last of Us Part 2, I couldn't help but start thinking about the first game, specifically how the atmosphere stuck with me long after putting the controller down. For my question, a little background. I'll keep it brief, I promise. The Last of Us came out right around when my daughter was born, but I didn't end up playing it until the remastered on the PS4 came out. I bought it, put it in, and played about 6 or so hours of it. I've never beaten the game. My girlfriend has, and I've seen a ton of her playthrough, but I had to put it down myself. I got to this part in the small town and went into this house with baby stuff in it, and I eventually went into little boy's room. In his room, I found a diary, and through the 6 or so entries I read, he had detailed the apocalypse through his eyes, how his parents tried to keep him calm, how they had to abandon his dog. This normally wouldn't have been a big deal for me, but combined with the general hopelessness and bleakness of the world, as well as being a new father, it was too much. So my question to you fine folks, have you ever had a piece of in-game content, be it book or piece of music or something like that, affect you in the same way, positively or negatively? Thanks for your time, and sorry for the length. Keep on keeping on, Christian. So this is a good Christmas question, right? It's like, what games bum the fuck out of you?
Perfect for the holidays. Perfect. Jeez, what games hit me in my feels, huh?
I don't know that. I'm trying to think. There's got to be a few in there. I will say that my go-to answer for this question a lot of times I've never stopped playing a game because of emotion. I could say that I've tried playing the evil route through Fallout and a few other games, and I've just eventually gone, I don't enjoy this level of sadistic badness to the point where I want to keep playing this game. I like to be the good guy in video games. I will say that I've always had a really deep emotional reaction at the end of Metal Gear Solid 4 when Snake and Ocelot are punching each other on top of the submarine. It's like this whole anthology through the entire series and stuff, and that's genuinely emotional. I can say as far as like bumming me out, the one that people may have heard this before, it will stick with me till the end of my days. I watched Grave of the Fireflies one time. I will never watch Grave of the Fireflies again because If you guys haven't seen this, this is about a big brother trying to keep his little sister alive during World War II when things were real bad in Japan. I have a little sister. There are parts of that I was just like, I cannot continue to watch this. Or I watched it the one time, but it was just like, it's as though the media had been designed to make me super bummed out and just like, also Up. I will never watch Up again.
Oh, screw that. No way.
Because I feel like I feel like Disney did a bad thing. Like they used all their Disney powers in the first 5 minutes of the movie to bum me the fuck out. And none of the jokes that came after that were good enough to keep me from remembering, oh yeah, this guy's story is so incredibly tragic that I can't have fun in this lighthearted movie because the main character is so tragic that I can't stop thinking about how tragic he is.
Beaches.
Oh, yeah? Haven't seen it.
Oh, man. That movie and my feels my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
That is, God, that movie. It's got...
It's Meryl Streep, right?
Bette Midler,
Bette Midler,
and
okay.
Barbara Hershey.
Okay. You get a little verklempt over there.
I can't even. That is the one movie that, like, I own it naturally, and I just, God, it kicks me in the ass every single time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just with its feels and its realness and the bleak ending. Ugh.
But you know what? I realized the other day that I'm a big softie. Like I was.
You're just realizing this?
Well, no, it's not a thing that I realized. I guess it's just that as we were talking about getting older, as I was talking about getting older before, I'm like, I don't care anymore. So I watched the Jungle Book movie that came out this year.
Oh yeah, how was that?
It was really good. The only thing that was a little bit of a problem was, I feel like they miscast a lot of the voice actors.
I could see that.
Because Baloo was Bill Murray, and Bill Murray's fine, but the problem is that when he's talking, all I can think of is Bill Murray.
Right.
So it was just like, well, and eventually I kind of got used to it, but it was kind of jarring. And then King Louis was Christopher Walken, which was a little strange. And what was even more strange is that he actually sings the, like, I want to walk like you, talk like you, ooh, 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 song, but it's Christopher Walken.
Christopher Walken sing?
Sort of. It's about how what your brain is thinking right now. That's about what it is. It's kind of like singing.
I mean, I know he dances like a baller, but singing.
It's a little strange.
All right.
Also, I can say, because, like, okay, so Bagheera was Ben Kingsley. That's fine. Ben Kingsley's voice is, like, temperate enough that I can. And then Shere Khan was Idris Elba, who I didn't recognize at first. But the biggest misstep, not to just review the Jungle Book, but the biggest misstep voice-wise was that they made Kaa's voice was Scarlett Johansson. And I don't have Kaa had a dude's voice in the Jungle Book, and I don't care about that. You'd recast. I don't give a shit. You could have made King Louis a lady for all I care. But the main thing is that Scarlett Johansson's voice, she has like that kind of like vocal fry type of voice, and it doesn't work super well with a snake, which you kind of want to.
I can't see that
sinewy, sensual kind of, and
something with a lilt to it.
Yeah, and her voice kind of came out of it a little weird, especially because the whole scene with Kaa is Kaa hypnotizing Mowgli, right, to eat him, and then Baloo comes and saves him, right? So, but I was watching that, and it was just like, oh, well, one of the animals got killed, and I'm just like, they're friends. I don't. So
feels.
Yeah, I get the feels all the time, but then I just don't care at this point.
Bed of Roses, also that one does it to me every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that one?
Christian Slater.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You and I have a very different filmography.
Oh, very much so.
What about games, though? Can you think of any specific game?
I mean,
when Aerith got killed in Final Fantasy VII?
I'm of mixed feelings because my personal ship like cackles evilly when she dies because I'm like, you don't touch Sephiroth's lady.
Yeah.
And then the other part of me is like, oh, but my fucking feels. But no, even worse feels in that game. The backstory of Red 13's dad.
Okay.
That one gets me every time when Red 13 sees the statue of his dad and he just starts howling and you're just like, my feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there was anything like that. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. A lot of times the problem with games is that games are designed to be so like stimulating and to keep you playing them that it's hard to put me off of the game to a point where I will stop playing it because in general, I mean, like I have, not to get all the way back into it, but like the problem, the when I will stop playing a game more often than not, it's because it's long, tedious, or boring, not because it's like, this is too much, I can't, because that's what I want. I want the game to choke me up and make me feel stuff, you know? Whereas like the problem that I've been having with Final Fantasy 15 is that it isn't hooking me emotionally, and so it just ends up kind of being this grind, and I'm like, but all right. Well, thanks for the question, Christian. Do you have any more?
No, I got nothing else on right.
Okay. This next one comes in from Jeff. Oh, okay.
Hi,
hey, Jeff. Says Jeff, longtime listener from back in the Spill era. Not a patron due to current financial restraints, but I will be before too long. Well, thank you very much, Jeff. Here's my question. With the upcoming release of Resident Evil 7, what are your thoughts on the shift in tone, gameplay mechanics with the PlayStation VR, and apparent absence of veteran characters such as Leon, Jill, Claire, etc.? I'm very open to a fresh take on the franchise, but the fanboy in me really wants to see classic characters. Keep raging on and know that your fans have your back always, Jeff.
I feel like we kind of covered this a little bit in our earlier segment.
Yeah.
Sometimes segueing into something new is a good thing. You need new, fresh content so that you can further appreciate the older content that you already liked.
It's. I feel like there's an axiom here about how developing a long-term universe where you're going to have lots of different episodes in it, like a TV show, is a different discipline than whether you're trying to tell. Like I always get a little bit miffed when people talk about like video games, movies, and TV shows like they're all interchangeable, and novels and stuff like that as well, because I feel like they are similar, but they're all fundamentally different. You know, a 20-hour game is so much different than an 8-hour game, and what you can do in those two things are wildly different. But as far as sequels go, yeah, we did talk about that. I'm a little bit loath for anything that has a part 4. I think that you can do a trilogy fairly well, but I also have a theory that most trilogies fall down on the third one, because the first game is always real easy because you've got a fresh tapestry, so you can basically create whatever you want. The second game, a lot of times is, and this I know this is direct opposition to what I was saying before, is better because you can take the lessons that you learned about the things that didn't work in the first game, fix them, open your story up a little bit wider, add some new stuff to it, and develop on it. The problem is that then the third game, you're either looking at opening up even further, which a lot of times I feel like requires your second game to have enough constraint to leave something for the third game to do. I don't know. I personally am super excited that Resident Evil 7 is veering off, because that franchise has been spinning its wheels.
We also have to consider the fact that creating a game for virtual reality is a lot different than creating a game for a flat console. It completely and totally changes the way that you write the game and the way that the viewer interacts with the game. It's a completely and totally different beast. So I feel like if they had just plopped the original characters into a virtual reality space, that it wouldn't give you as much license to segue into a new style of gameplay, which is what you need for virtual reality. So the fact that they're putting the Resident Evil name on it, but they're making it a lot different from what you've gone through in the past, I feel is the safe way to go about it.
Yeah. Also, I mean, Resident Evil traditionally was always a third-person game up until now. Like, every Resident Evil game has been a third-person game. And having played a third-person game in VR, I can say that the shift from third to first person, especially for a horror game, really does amp up the level of spooky weirdness.
It really does.
Because, you know, your view of things is much more limited when your camera is determining where you're looking. So, like, in Resident Evil 7, if there's a thing chasing you, it's like you can either be looking at that or you could be running with your camera now not looking at the danger, which only kind of amplifies that. So, but no, I wish more games would do this. I wish that more games would just go nuts and try something different.
Absolutely. Don't knock it till you try it, friend. Give it a fresh plate and let it be. Yeah. And you'll enjoy it.
I feel like a lot of people, though, I haven't seen that many people who are super complaining pants about Resident Evil 7.
Good.
I know they're out there, but I just haven't seen that many of them running through Rage Select, and I don't know.
I think it was a bold choice for them to make the next one completely VR, and I applaud it.
Well, no, it's not. It's not completely VR.
That's what they were saying originally.
Nope. You can. Well, no? You can play it in VR, but you can also. I mean,
You can play it flat.
Yeah, I've got a demo, so you can play it on. You play it on the TV.
Don't do that. Play it VR. Do it.
I've heard it's intense, which
I believe it.
Seeing the way that the game, like playing that demo and seeing the way that it was going to work out, yeah, it looks like it's going to be pretty interesting. This next one comes in from Joey Jojo Jr. Shabadoo.
All right, then.
He says, "Dear Jeff and Jennifer," and he actually wanted me to save this for when you were on. So
there
we go.
That's exciting.
I've wanted to get into streaming games for a while now, but a large case of social anxiety keeps me from talking or actually starting to stream in most cases. Getting a bit tipsy is usually good for getting me to open my mouth, but the few times I've attempted to stream after a few drinks, I still clam up. I also don't really have any friends, so doing a group thing to relieve the pressure isn't really an option. I'm not looking to do this to make any money or anything, just a fun hobby that could help with breaking out of my social coffin. If you don't have any advice, no worries. It's a difficult problem, but I figured I'd give it a shot. Keep on raging on. Joey Jojo Jr. Shabadoo.
Hey, my friend. I feel you. I feel your pain. Being a total and complete goof in front of the camera as I am, the struggle is real. And the first time that you Twitch stream is this very strange kind of feeling of jumping off of a cliff without a safety net. Mm-hmm. Like you don't really know what's going to happen. It could go well, it could go really badly. Mm-hmm. Holy crap. So the way that I went about it was I had watched a few, I stalked other people's Twitch streams for a while, especially Eswoogie, who plays Final Fantasy VII, my favorite game, ESWOOGI, my favorite streamer on the planet, to this day still. I was in his chat earlier today. Great community, great streamer. Everything you would want as a beginning streamer, like even willing to answer questions for you. So always talk to other streamers, ask them questions. Never hesitate to reach out to the Twitch community because those people are very welcoming, which is fantastic. Pick a game the first time that you stream that you are the most comfortable with on the face of the planet. Don't go for new content the first time you stream. Reason being, when you're Twitch streaming, people are coming to you because of your personality and because of the way that you interact with a game. And you're going to be the most comfortable and relaxed with a game that you're familiar with and that you're passionate about. There's no unknown quantity there. Mm-hmm. And then that gives you talking fodder the whole time because you're not experiencing something new where you have no depth. You will be able to tell everybody why it's your favorite game, what elements of it you like. Here's this thing that I really enjoy, and here's why. Yep. It'll automatically set you up for success because you'll have hours worth of things to talk about because it's just your favorite thing. Mm-hmm. And you will also draw people to you who have that same passion for that game. For instance, my first streamed game, obviously, Final Fantasy VII.
No, come on.
Shock. But I wasn't sure how streaming was going to go for me or if I was going to be comfortable with it, but I knew that game. Mm-hmm. So I knew if I just put that game on and played it all day long and nobody joined, fine. I was going to be fine with it because I love this freaking game so damn much.
Yeah.
So pick something you're familiar with. Always go with a comfortable zone first. Don't feel the pressure to act for other people. If you're streaming, it should be because you enjoy talking about the games that you're playing. And if that's a thing you already have, you're going to be fine on Twitch. Just be yourself always. People will sniff out a phony in about 2.5 seconds. So just be yourself. Play games you love playing. Talk to people who love those games as well, and everything will go well for you. Don't feel the pressure to put a video camera on yourself if you're not into that. Mm-hmm. You can be the disembodied voice that just plays games for a while. You can tell people that you don't feel like having a video camera on, or even that you might not be talking all that much at certain points in time. Just going into it with no set standard and just having fun is the key to relaxing.
Sure.
It really is.
I might make an alternative suggestion for choosing your first game. If you don't already have any kind of hook for fans and audience, a lot of times, if you pick something that has where people are watching other people stream it all the time, like something like a Overwatch. Or last week we played Star Wars Battlefront, and we played the map from Rogue One, Scarif. And we had like 15 new people subscribe to our channel because I feel like you get a lot more people that come in when you're playing a multiplayer game, because you can be playing a single player game, but multiplayer is so frenetic and dynamic and crazy, and you can never tell what's going to happen, whether it's going to be good or bad or indifferent, that you're probably going to attract people that just enjoy watching the multiplayer struggle, right? Because I feel that as far as the clamming up thing goes, first off, never underestimate just doing it and continuing to do it, because right now it sounds like you're still kind of in one of those early things where you're nervous about it, right? So stream a dozen or 24 times, and it will become, just if you could just force yourself to do it, then it will become more regular and you will stop worrying as much about it.
Absolutely.
And then picking a game where you're going to be drawing in more audience, like if there's a DLC for a multiplayer game or something, then you'll get people who come in, and some of them will be crappy, but some of them will talk to you, and then you can talk back to them, and that kind of alleviates the need for you to talk to yourself. Is that you can talk to the chat if you have an engaging chat. Another thing that I feel like can be a draw as far as games go is to pick up. Unfortunately, between now and the middle of January, there won't really be much to do, but pick up a game, a single-player game, put it on, and just start playing it for the first time. Don't go in blind. That way, all of your reactions will be genuine the first time, and you will get people who will join just to watch you play the game, because that may not even be as into listening to commentary, because they just want to watch somebody play a game. There's plenty of people out there that just want to watch somebody play a game from beginning to end.
Right.
And you could do that as well. So, but the biggest thing, Joey Joe Jr. Chabadoo, I will give you the piece of advice that Kevin J. Baird, the elder statesman of video game commentary, the guy that I've known who's been doing this longer than any of the rest of us, said to me one day, sometimes you got to just do it and see what happens.
Exactly.
You can spend a lot of time overthinking everything, but especially for the wild west of what streaming is, I would highly recommend that after you listen to this podcast, you just pick a game, hit live, just start playing, and go. And if you can't talk, that's fine. Just do that for a little while. Don't talk. I mean, I've seen YouTube channels that are just nothing but the gameplay. They don't talk. They have no commentary. People have told us for years, you talk too much. You talk less. I can't hear the game over your incessant prattling about the Jungle Book and Gene Hackman, right? Like, I came here to watch The Last Guardian, not to listen to you and some Godzilla comic guy, blah, blah, blah. So there's plenty of people who are more than happy to watch you play a thing, especially if it's a brand new thing that just came out, without any commentary. But the main thing is you got to do it. And then as you do it, you'll get better. Never forget.
Do it.
One of my greatest realizations of 2016 is the fallacy of that dumb thing where people say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. That's not the definition of insanity. That's the definition of practice. That's what we all do. We do the same thing over and over again, and you get better at it as time goes on, because it takes 10,000 hours doing anything to become really super good at it. So you got to start doing it. And whether it's streaming or riding a bike or playing the violin or fucking whatever, you got to just start doing it and keep doing it, and don't stop doing it regardless of anything else that happens. So.
And on your way to streaming success, if you ever want to stop by my channel and hang out, ask me questions, whatever, I'm always around. You're more than welcome.
Yep. You stream for a long time.
Sometimes. Depends on the day. Like, I'll stream for an hour and a half when I have time. I'll stream for 5-6 hours. 8, 9 hours. It just depends on what I'm doing.
Lord Almighty.
I have the next 2 weeks off of work, so I'm probably going to be streaming a lot.
Okay.
A lot. A lot. And I just got Final Fantasy 15, so
there you go.
I'm like an hour and a half in now, so we're about to do the thing.
Not to get too far off topic, but how are you enjoying Final Fantasy 15?
I literally just started it. I got through the tutorial and the first little go find these 3 things in the forest, and then that's it.
Are you enjoying it?
Yeah.
So far?
So far. I find a game with a new system to be slightly overwhelming while I'm figuring out the buttons, because I'm nowhere near as experienced as you are with different game systems. Like,
sure.
I'm still used to turn-based role-play games. So getting into live action stuff is a little harder for me. My brain doesn't think that fast.
I highly then recommend, I would actually recommend, I understand why they didn't do it because it's a lot less dynamic, but I would recommend going in. There's actually a switch that you can switch in that game to where if you have it set in this one, I don't remember what it's called. It's like active time battle off or something like that. But when you have that turned on, when you're not moving Noctis, the world stops. And you can look and you can kind of like target stuff and lock on to certain things. And there's a big timer at the bottom of the screen that goes down. And when it goes down, you go back to. So it's kind of like you've got a limited amount of time to make decisions. But if you're in a big group of things, like you don't have to make all these decisions in real time.
That's clever.
Yeah. So
I like that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
Noted.
All right. This next one comes in from Cameron. Cameron says, "Hey, Jeff and the revolving host of the Iron Throne." Oh, man, I wish I had the Iron Throne.
I love that.
From Game of Thrones in here.
We need one now.
I want one made out of controllers that are all melted together.
Send us all of your broken controllers. We're going to make a thing.
Yep. 2016 has finally seen the launch of 2 games that went through 10 years of development hell, but are now finally here with Final Fantasy 15 and The Last Guardian. My question is this: in your lifetime, have you witnessed games that took this long of a development period and still received good reviews? Final Fantasy 15 and The Last Guardian received the same review score of 8 or 9 out of 10, which is astonishing, being that they took this long to develop. The only game I could think of is Duke Nukem Forever, which had a 10-year development cycle of hell, only to receive poor reviews due to its gameplay and sheer laziness of work between a game which was celebrating an anniversary at the time. Thanks for answering my questions, and keep the good content coming, guys, as I thoroughly enjoy y'all being part of my daily life. And then it just says, you too, Matt and Jen. So, all right.
Oh, thanks.
That's from Cameron. So
I love you, Cameron.
Yeah.
You're beautiful.
I don't, Cameron. I hate you so much. No,
well, he doesn't matter anyway, so it's really Matt and I, because we're the pretty ones.
Yes.
We're the ones you want the approval
The young ones, yeah. You guys are the young, pretty people.
The young, opinionated people who love to troll people.
Yeah. I'm just gradually, this year for Christmas, I'm going to get myself a rocking chair and a cane, and then just, you know.
By the way, you introducing Matt and I was the best birthday present. It really was.
I thought about coming in when you guys were talking. He was giving you, Matt Frank stopped by and gave us lovely Christmas gifts.
He did. God,
yes.
that Chitara print.
Yeah, but I was outside smoking and I saw you two jibba-jabbing inside. I thought about coming in and being like, that's your birthday gift, by the way, is have Matt Frank.
I gave you this.
You can have Matt Frank.
We've been joking that his wife is going to leave him for me. So it's God. You did a good thing. You did a real good thing.
I bring people together.
He came to my my Weirdlings stream on Monday.
I was lurking.
Were you?
Yep.
Why do you always lurk and never let me know you're there, you jerk?
I
want to talk to you.
I'm the lurker.
I see you lurk sometimes on my channel, and I talk to you, and you don't talk back, and it makes me real sad. It makes me real sad, Jeff.
I was playing another game while I was watching you guys.
That's fine.
So.
All right, touche.
Yeah.
If you're playing a game, I get it. Yeah, he came by Monday night, and we got more followers Monday night than we've had in like ever. We had like 30 people in the chat room and at least 6 or 7 new followers. Apparently people love people playing shitty kaiju games.
Yeah. Niche. I actually saw that game being played one time on YouTube on some guy's channel, and I feel like it was the first, through some YouTube mojo, it was like the first thing that came up when I did a search for that game title.
Oh.
And his part 1 of it had like 150,000 views, and then like part 2 had like 7, and part 3 had like 2.
How
and
funny.
they were all 2 from there. Like, it was like, okay. Anyway, what was the question here? Things that have been in development for huge amounts of time that come out and are actually good. So, Cameron, I don't know if you have any input on this, but so Cameron, here's the strange thing. Most of the games that fall into that category are more of a 5 to 7 year development time.
Okay.
And most of them are, and the biggest offender, if you will, in that category is Square Enix. They will announce a Final Fantasy game, and then it'll be 5 fucking years, because in the old days, it's like, first they have to finish it, which takes for goddamn ever. Then they have to put it out in Japan. Then they have to spend the next 2 years localizing it. Then they put that out in America. And then 2 years after that, there's like the international edition that has blah, blah, schmackety-doo and like another Omega. It's got a ruby weapon and a garnet weapon and a fucking opal weapon or something in it. But a lot of times those games, they take a long time to develop, but they're not bad. Also, fucking Kojima.
Oh, yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 2 was announced, and it took like 3 or 4 years, maybe longer than that, for that game to come out. I think that what's interesting about this question is that the speed of game development has only increased, not decreased. That Final Fantasy 15 and The Last Guardian and Duke Nukem Forever are all big outliers, because now we expect to hear there's a new Uncharted 4 game, and next year we're going to get to play it. Whereas in the olden days, it would be Final Fantasy X is coming out, and you'll get to play it in 3.5 years, you know? Or Persona 4 is coming out, and you're going to get to play it. It's going to come out in Japan. It's going to take a full 1.5 years to get that shit localized down to the U.S. So I've actually played quite a few games in my lifetime that took time to come from Japan to America, because that used to be the big thing, was that all the best games come out of Japan, and then it takes forever to localize them, and they finally come out in America. Duke Nukem Forever is a very weird example, though, because that was one of those things. I always get really nervous when a game, when there's the announcement that a game switches engines, where they're like, oh, well, we were using Doom 2 engine, but now we're going to be using the Unreal 3 engine, and we have to port all the assets, because like The Last Guardian looks all right, but for the graphical fidelity of that game, the frame rate kind of sucks. And I think that's because it was developed as a PlayStation 3 game that prioritized pretty graphics over frame rate, but the PlayStation 4 should be able to play that game 60 frames per second without any problems. Mm-hmm. There's nothing I'm seeing there that's ridiculously outside of the realm of what I would expect. But as far as time for game development, long game development time does not necessarily mean that a game is going to be garbage. Like, I was actually thinking about 13, Final Fantasy 13. I know I keep coming back to that in this podcast over and over again, but because Final Fantasy 15, of course, was originally announced as Final Fantasy Versus 13, and that was, so let's see. So Final Fantasy 13 was released in 2009 in Japan, and then March 2010 America. And it was, started development in 2004. So it took
5-6 years.
5 years, right. And then it was announced in 2005, I think. Let's see, in March 2006, blah, 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 Snow and Hope. This is so much development stuff. I know that it was several years between when it was originally announced and when it first came out, but yeah, I don't really have that much of a problem with that. Like, people get really excited about Death Stranding, and it's like, that game's probably going to take 4 years to make. If Kojima is hurrying, it'll take 4 years to make because the dude's a perfectionist. But so yeah, count your lucky stars that we even have games coming out on a yearly basis, and that it's not.
But I never mind a wait.
Yeah,
I've always been a fan of that. Like, I will wait however long it takes, as long as the thing's going to knock my damn socks off and make me coffee the next morning.
I have a feeling that one of the reasons that 2016 feels kind of bleh is because a lot of the stuff that was supposed to come out this year is coming out next year,
right?
And that so most of the stuff that I was like the most interested in got pushed to one side, and then there was a lot of stuff that I didn't even know existed, like Watch Dogs 2 was announced. And that was kind of we're pretty sure they were working on that, but that was announced at E3 and then came out 2 or 3 weeks ago. So, All right, this next comes in from Sam. Sam says, "Hi, Jeff and Jennifer.
Hey.
First, a quick point relating to your Final Fantasy 15 discussion in the last podcast. Ooh, Final Fantasy 15 all over the place this week.
It is.
They actually show the car breakdown after the credits in Kingsglaive. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
It's fairly anticlimactic. They're driving along, bantering about how Noctis is going to get married, and then a few puffs of black smoke come out of the car, and it grinds to a halt. It was so weird, and I don't know why they didn't just put that at the start of the game instead of at the end credits where no one would see it. Because one of my big problems with Final Fantasy 15 is that the beginning of it doesn't explain anything to you. You know, the whole thing at the beginning of Kingsglaive where they're like, oh, there's this kingdom, and then there's these guys, and it's
they
like,
just go for it. Yeah.
put that in the game. I don't understand. Like, if you're just playing this. Now that I have your attention with that interesting tidbit, I thought I'd ask a question. I'm reading Console Wars at the moment. It's a story of Sega and Nintendo battling it out in the 90s. Nintendo used to have these draconian restrictions on game developers where they had to pass all sorts of quality control tests at Nintendo's discretion. Obviously, we've come a long way from there, but what do you think of Sony/Microsoft/Nintendo taking a lead in ensuring product quality? E.g., what if a game was crowdfunded and finished and Sony said, nope, it's too crap to put out on our platform, and to do so would damage our brand? Is it reasonable for them to make calls like that, or should they leave it to the market? Thanks, Sam from New Zealand. What do you think, Jennifer?
Well, being on the developer side of things, like working in VR film and games and things like that, I've seen the struggle that you have to go through as a developer to get your stuff on a platform. Like the developer kits are stupid expensive for these companies, just a redonkulous amount of money. Like the VR headset for Microsoft that they're developing, the HoloLens.
Oh, yeah.
The developer kit for that is, I think, $5,000.
It's
for one headset.
Really ridiculous.
And it's another $5,000 for each additional headset you want to think you might get.
Yep.
And even then, there's still like a waiting list, and they have to review it and determine that you've got some sort of worthy output that's going to happen for them to give it to you. So it's this whole big boggy thing.
If that thing comes out, I'll be amazed. I'll be amazed if that thing actually hits commercial production, because...
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't see it. But, so I definitely see the struggle for developers, and I don't know that I have a good answer for what we should do about that. I mean, I like that people can crowdfund games these days. I absolutely love that. And I guess I think if you can, maybe there's a way to segment it, like the officially licensed games from Sony versus the ones that have been crowdfunded and put on there. Like if you could categorize them differently so people will realize that one isn't a product of the other, maybe that would make it okay. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, this is an interesting question, and I'm cheating a little bit because I'm withholding a little bit of information from you about this particular topic, and from Sam as well. I could tell that Sam probably has a PlayStation 4 and probably looks at PlayStation 4, but the answer is that they already do that. Because if you go look at the Steam Marketplace, this is a story that actually happened last week that I keep forgetting to actually put in the news section. I believe Polygon ran a story last week that had a shocking statistic. And that statistic was 40% of the games on Steam came out in 2016.
That's a lot of games.
40% of all the games on Steam came out this year on Steam. And so when you think about every week on the PlayStation, it's like, okay, there's like maybe 2 AAA titles, and then kind of like, here's a little indie title, here's a PS2 game that they've put on, and here's like kind of a little experimental thing, here's a VR title. Steam is a wasteland right now. It's like an ocean of garbage, because like when I pull up just Steam and I'm looking at here, this is we're recording this today is December 16th, okay? So this whole page of what we're looking at right here, which is just games, this is all today. Every one of these is a game that came out today. And Castle Battles, Christmas Shooting Scramble, I Factor, Lockdown, Standalone, Necula, Volleyball Unbound, Alicia Griffin, Lakeside Murder, Lobotomy Corporation, Maskey, Sweater, OK, Clicker Guild, Rumble Fighter Unleashed, Dragon Skies VR, Fish Lake, Christmas Stories Nutcracker Collector's Edition, Where Are My Internets, Brazed, 8-Bit Invaders. I mean, this is today. This is just today. And I haven't even finished with this list yet. And this is Friday. Like, the games come out on Tuesday. This isn't even the day that games normally come out. We have to go all the way through, almost all the way to the end of a second page of games to get to the stuff that came out yesterday.
Right.
That is what an uncontrolled marketplace of video games look like. On the PlayStation, you're going to get 4 or 5 games a week. I've got 2 pages of games that came out today. And these are not, I mean, you know, here's $5.39, $9.99, $11.69, $4.99, $16.99, $17.99. This one's free to play, but this one's $4. This one's $3. This one's $2. This one's $20. You know, so I get into a problem nowadays on Steam where I have a hard time using the store because I can't. Like, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to look through 25 garbage games to see if one of the and I'm trying to judge whether these games are good or not based on screenshots, a trailer that may be lying to me, Steam user reviews, which in the past I found to be increasingly like kind of bitchy and PC Master Race about a lot of things. So it becomes one of those things that's incredibly difficult. So the answer to the question is that they already do. Because Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo won't just put anything on their platform. They do curate what comes through their store. Sony probably has more things on their store. They probably let more through than Microsoft or Nintendo does. But, yeah, the answer is that they already do that. Now, I think that from Sam's perspective, I think what he's asking is, like, do you think that a publisher like Sony or a platform holder like Sony should basically be like, well, we're going to self-evaluate every game that comes through, and if it doesn't reach a certain level of quality, we're just not going to put it on the store. And I feel like that gets really tricky because then you have to wonder who's doing the evaluating. Mm-hmm. And if they have a bias against, I don't know, RPGs, right? And so you see fewer RPG or fighting games or puzzle games, right? Yep. So I find that you get into a really tricky category. And right now, I think that the curation that's being done on those platforms is just fine. Because I can go and see what's new as opposed to fucking Steam and their fucking. Look at this. I went back to this front page. This is I click the stuff out here on the front page of Steam. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These aren't even just straight up new releases. These are popular new releases. And of these 10 things on the front page, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, almost 50% of them, are DLCs for games that have already been out. These aren't even new games. These are just DLCs. Scarface character pack for Payday 2.
Jeez.
Train Simulator Peninsula Corridor.
Yes, I've been waiting for that my whole life.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you ever want to see what a horrible thing looks like, go take a look at the front page of Steam. This comes in from John. John says, Feliz Navidad, Jeff and Jennifer. While Christmas shopping, I tried a Vive. Oh, he says Vibe, but I'm assuming it's a Vive.
I'm assuming Vive, yeah.
There's a new one.
He tried to Vibe.
I got
some
vibes.
With some people.
Yeah, at a newly opened Microsoft store. I told the sales rep running it I wasn't sure if any VR unit would work with me because I wear glasses. She claimed it worked fine, however. This proved to be a sales tactic. My experience with the Vive is that I could clearly see the screen's pixels. My glasses weren't pressed up against my face, but my peripheral vision was blocked out by the unit, making it feel like I was looking through a ship's porthole window. Overall, I didn't enjoy it. As someone who wears glasses and uses VR, do you experience this as well? Or was this just a result of the unit being the demo unit and having everyone who walked in the mall using it? Should I also get checked out for pink eye because everyone and their grandmother tried out the unit? Longtime fan, John with no H. John, as somebody who has had a lot of experience with pink eye in the past, I can say you don't need to get checked. You will know if you have pink eye almost immediately.
Oh, poor buddy. I feel like I need to hug you, you poor thing. But then I feel like I need to stay away from you because you might possibly have pink eye right now. I don't know.
I do not. Trust me, I've had enough experience to know
you would know
what pink eye is.
I would say that they're normally very meticulous about the cleaning of demo units in stores. Mm-hmm. At least Oculus is. I have several friends that work for Oculus, and I've talked to them a lot about their demo special tactics and things. And so you should be fine, for one. B, as far as the glasses goes, I wear glasses, and I've yet to have a VR experience that wasn't a good one because of my glasses.
Okay.
Then again, I do have plastic lenses and frames that are relatively narrow. I have a pretty tiny face, and my glasses they're about an inch high.
Okay.
You know, and maybe 2 inches across. So my glasses are on the smaller spectrum of glasses.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see how somebody with larger frames, like a 2 or 3 inch around frame, might have a problem with certain headsets. The Oculus Rift has a better headset than the Vive in that regard, I want to say. So you might
wearing glasses with the headset on. Okay.
Yeah, it's got a deeper. It's farther out from your face.
Okay.
The
There's
Oculus
more space
headset.
for something between your eyes and the lenses.
Yes, there's more space for things. So you might want to try an Oculus before you write off the virtual reality experience in general. And store units that travel around a lot are usually the lower end ones. So you might want to try to find a friend who's got one of the higher end ones and try that out. Maybe that's the way to go for you.
Also, never underestimate the fact that at least Oculus and the Vive both actually have calibration for your face setup that don't usually get done in those types of environments.
Yeah.
I could say right now that the main thing, are you nearsighted or farsighted?
I am nearsighted and I have astigmatism.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I'm just straight up nearsighted. So I just take my glasses off. I mean, I don't have to wear them because the screens are so close to my face that that's what I do. I just take them off entirely.
They do say that for most consoles, you can take your glasses off and view them just fine.
Yeah.
But because I have that astigmatism, everything is blurry. So I prefer to use my glasses.
Yeah. If you are nearsighted, John, I would recommend just take your glasses off because the screens you're looking at are right the hell up against your face, so you don't need to be able to see far away. If you're farsighted, I'm not sure what to do because that's difficult. Contacts, maybe? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's not something that I know of. Maybe somebody in the comment section can say more about it. But then I haven't. My friend has a Vive, and we ended up messing with it a little bit. But I usually end up using his Vive while I'm drunk. I go to his house. Of course you do. And we get wasted. And then he's like, do you want to do VR? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go.
God.
Let's play Space Pirate Simulator.
Yes.
All right. This next one comes in from
no name. All right. No name friend.
I will call you
Bob
Geek. Bob Geek. Bob Geek says, hey, Jeff, and always knowledgeable Jennifer. Oh, never mind. I am Jared.
Oh, there it is.
Hi, Jared. Longtime listener from since the dawn of Loading Bar days when it was merely the untitled video game podcast before you graced us with your presence to that site. Anyway, I just bought a PS4 Slim after Black Friday, and I could not be happier to have a current generation console again.
Woo.
A feature that I find enjoyable is the ability to watch other people stream their games through PlayStation Live. I feel like I can gauge if I like a game just by watching it.
Absolutely.
But not sure if I would actually enjoy the process of playing them. Has there ever been a game that you prefer to watch rather than to play yourself?
Ooh.
Sorry if this email is rambly. I wrote this while on a pot brownie. And then he says in parentheses, legal state. So maybe this will sound like stoner nonsense. Thanks and peace out, Jeff and awesome co-host from Jared.
You sounded perfectly coherent to me, broski.
Yeah.
Party on.
Yeah. This wasn't 6 paragraphs long like some of my emails.
Yeah. Nope. This was rather succinct.
Games you'd rather watch than play? I've got a few that fall into that category.
You go, I'll think.
I know that this is becoming a running thing, and you guys should know by now that I'll get stuck on a thing for a couple of weeks and then come off of it. But the way that Telltale games are structured, I'd much rather watch them as a movie than play them as a game. Also, there are quite a few walking simulators where the level of interactivity is kind of low enough that I'm like, I think I'd rather you just told me this story rather than making me walk from point A to point B and listen to a recording while I'm doing it, Some games, there have been a few RPGs, sometimes even JRPGs, but most of the time JRPGs, where if you had told me you can either play this or you can watch it as a 16-part anime, I might be like, no, I'll take that anime. I'll take 16 hours over 60 this time, because I'm only mildly interested in what happens here. But yeah, for the most part, I don't know. I like video games because they're interactive. So
Final Fantasy IX. It's just so damn pretty. I just want to watch it.
Okay.
I watch Eastwoogie play that all the time. I had another one. Oh, Dino Crisis.
Okay.
The whole dinosaur thing scared the shit out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Raptors falling out of the ceiling scares my shit right out. But I will watch somebody else play that. Same with games like Silent Hill or Resident Evil.
Okay.
I don't want to play it.
You don't want to play it?
I'll watch you play it.
Okay.
I will watch you play it. Also, I watched somebody play through Life is Strange.
Okay.
And
I can
very
see
much
that.
enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that game has enough interactivity to it that I feel like it would be fun to play, but I can also see just being like, you know what, I'm just going to watch somebody else.
Ooh. Also, Danganronpa.
Okay.
Yes, which you still need to
It's
play.
a very busy season.
Yeah, says the guy who just recently asked people to tell him what game to play because he didn't know what game to play. And I told you what game to play, and you're telling me you're too busy. Shenanigans.
True.
Moving on.
Yes, very true. All the shenanigans. Like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I'm going to make sense 24 hours a day. All right.
It's okay. I would just like to request that my Christmas present be a day where you play Danganronpa.
Okay. Well, it'll have to be.
We could do it on a stream or something.
It'll have to be in January because this Sunday, actually, as of the people listening to this podcast, will have been our last stream for 2016 because
sad.
Next week we're doing Best of Rage Select 2016 because I deserve 1 week off.
Yes, you do. Of course you do.
So,
and you don't stream on Christmas?
No. I got a nice surprise waiting for everybody on Christmas. I've got a whole. I think I got a whole week full of interesting stuff all lined up.
Yeah.
For next week.
So. Oh yeah, things.
Yeah. And last but not least, this one comes in from Brandon. Brandon says, "Hello, Holy Jeff and Amazing Jennifer, who are going to guess." Oh, okay. And Amazing Jennifer. Brandon here with a question that has been bugging me. I have a stack of games I got over time. Some I beat, others I haven't even played. How would you go about beating this stack or at least lowering it? Would you play the short shit first or tackle a longer game first? I can't seem to pick a game and I need Rage Select's help. I attached a photo of my stack, which has grown a bit, honestly. Thanks for your help or any help you can provide. Happy holidays, loyal patron Brandon. So here is the list of Brandon's games.
Wow, it goes on.
Okay, so what do we got here? We got Halo. This is Xbox One. We've got the Master Chief Collection of Halo, Batman 3, Gears of War Ultimate Edition, Dead Rising 3, Titanfall, Wolfenstein: The Old Blood, Mad Max, Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition, Halo 5, the Sniper Elite Trilogy, Toy Soldiers, Sunset Overdrive, Far Cry 4, DMC Devil May Cry, Assassin's Creed Syndicate. That's the Dark. Bound by Flame. I'm actually kind of impressed that I can recognize some of these because this is a really blurry picture. Darksiders 2 Definitive Edition, Diablo 3, Evil Within, Metro Redo, Assassin's Creed Unity, God of War 3, Dishonored, Until Dawn, Rayman, Resident Evil Revelations. There's not enough pixels for me to tell what that is. Just Cause 3, Lords of the Fall, and The Last of Us. Resident Evil, I think the original remastered.
So it's a lot of games.
A lot of games.
I feel better about my life now. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
My backlog is not that big.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
I feel so much better about my life now.
So how would you go about lowering this stack of games?
In all honesty, since it sounds to me like you are like me and somewhat indecisive on which ones to play when, I would write down each of those titles on a piece of paper, put it in a hat, and pull one out and just go with it.
Okay.
Absolutely just fucking go with it.
So allow me to be a little bit more insane about this.
As you do. Go off then.
What I would do is I would take all of these games and I would review your stack in order of newest games to oldest games. So start with the newest ones and go to the oldest ones. From that point, I would pick the first 10 games off the top of the new stack, and then I would go look them all up on Metacritic and pick whichever one has the highest rating and start with that.
That's good. I like that.
Or if you want to go in a different direction, look at this stack and ask yourself, which of these am I most interested in playing? And start with that one. And then look through them and go, which one? Because I'll be honest, when I look through here, Halo's a re-release. I'm not big on Lego games. Gears of War is a re-release. Titanfall and Wolfenstein are both old. Mad Max wasn't very good. Sleeping Dogs is old and not very good. Halo 5 is pretty good, so I keep that one. But Zombie Army Trilogy for Sniper Elite, that's 3 whole games. You don't want to start with that. Toy Soldiers is kind of blag. Sunset Overdrive is good. Far Cry 4 is good. DMC Definitive Edition, if you played the original, you don't need to play that. Call of Duty Advanced Warfare is old and kind of bleh. Syndicate. I mean, you could just take this entire list and go to Metacritic and look up the scores and put the scores next to it, and then just go into your Excel spreadsheet and sort by what has the highest score and start with that. That would probably be the way that I would go, because you're always going to finish a game that you're into.
Yes, absolutely.
It's going to be better for you to play the games that you're most into, because then you will beat them and then you will move on to the next game, as opposed to trying to will yourself to finish Toy Soldiers War Chest because I have to because I bought it. Nah. Also, I take anything in here that is a re-release of an old game like Darksiders 2. I love Darksiders 2, but Darksiders 2 and the Halo and the Gears and some of these like Metro redo and God of War 3. No, not God of War 3. God of War 3. Those are all re-releases of old games. I would take all those out of that stack immediately and throw them into a satchel that you then put in a corner. Yeah. Also, I wouldn't play anything like you got Star Wars Battlefront there. I wouldn't play anything that is an infinitely playable online multiplayer game, because
you'll just be at it forever.
There's no beginning, there's no end, there's no nothing. So that's what I would suggest, Brandon. And with that, we're done.
Woo!
Another podcast in the bag. One more.
I miss you guys already.
What's that?
I miss you guys already. It's like the whole rest of my month. What am I going to do with my life?
Well, hey, why don't
Twitch stream a lot, apparently.
Yeah, tell the people where they can find you, since you're going to be Twitch streaming for 16 hours a day every day.
God. Yeah. So I'm Mayhem's Muse. On Twitch, it's twitch.tv/mayhems with an S _muse.
Yeah.
You can find links to all my other social media and websites there. I've got Patreon, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I have an Amazon list. There is PlayStation Network. I'm on there. You can add me. We'll play games together. The only game I have that's like multiplayer right now is Borderlands 2, so that's a thing.
You got Uncharted 4 multiplayer.
Oh, that's right. I'm so unused to that being a thing that I don't even think about it. Yeah. Come hang out. I'm going to be Twitch streaming a lot. Keep me company. Be friends.
There you go.
Yeah.
Mail@rachsite.com is email just to send stuff in. As always, we will have one more podcast for you this year. As I said, basically the way that we're splitting it up is once Christmas has happened, new content on Rage Select will be suspended for a week where we just do best of. That includes Patreon videos and everything, because my family's going to be in town, and goddamn it, I want to spend a little bit of time with my mom and dad. So.
You take that time off, boo. You do you.
Yep. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next week.